Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another car video. They don't know the game. You know what? You know what's funny? And this is something I spoke on before, probably speak on again. You know, you got some, I'll do a video and you always have that cat, that person, will come in the videos and they'll say, oh, it's just looks, it's just money. You try to explain some nuances of the game of man gets woman, or as one player call it, the player game. It's kind of catchy. Might have something there. But, and they'll pronounce loudly, oh, it's just looks. Or it's just money. Or one guy, I did a video recently on being a funny man. I said women love a funny man. And I had somebody leave several comments. He said, no, they don't like funny men and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah. Then some must have been those dudes who look very average, who were getting women because they could make them laugh. I don't know. Maybe the women didn't think they were that average. Who knows, right? Despite the women themselves saying, he all right, but he funny. Yeah, But, something, what that is? And I thought about that. The other night, met with a friend of mine. She's a fashion designer. It was at a modeling call, right? And I was, watching the models walk and all of that. They were kind of auditioning for her, right? And, I was thinking about just all the nuances just in modeling. And I got like brief experience with a modeling company, right? Brief. Okay. I had brief experience with a modeling company. So I'll see stuff that maybe other people wouldn't see, right? Like in modeling, right? There's a lot of people think if they look good, they can model. If they look good. Really? Not really. Okay, because at this modeling call, right, I was picking up on little nuances on like how people were walking. They were doing some runway walking, and quite frankly, a lot of them, they couldn't walk. People think you can just go up and like just model some clothes or something. You gotta be able to walk a certain way, poise, and then you gotta have some charisma. There's a lot of little nuances beyond looks, right? And see, but you got a lot of cats out there who, they pronounce stuff about the game and they'll say it's this way and it's this way. But if you ask them personally, they're virgins or they had extremely limited sexual experience. And not just their own experience, but if you really question them, they've never really been in environments where they've actually seen an actual player at work or really personally know a person that was actually good with women. And when I say personally, because you get a lot of dudes, they'll see somebody talking with a woman and think, oh yeah, they must be a player. It's like, no, they're just social. A single guy can be in the friend zone with every woman's friend, and they'll hug on him and stuff, and from the outside it looks like they players, right? And then you'll see a quiet guy, no women bothering with him publicly, but that's the actual player. There's a lot of nuances to it. But the thing is, nuances or not, you have a lot of people who proclaim, let me say that again, they proclaim to know what's up, and they say it loudly and proudly, and they'll think they know more than you. And I'm like, well, dude, I've been in the game. It's like another example I like to use is basketball. It's funny when I hear like fans of the game think they know more than a coach, right? Like, I give you an example. This is way long time ago, right? Like, there was at this grad school I was at, right? There was this was around 88. And that's when, during the Summer Olympics and stuff, this is when the Olympic team, that Summer Olympic team coached by John Thompson, the legendary Georgetown coach, had they lost. That's what inspired them bringing on the dream team, bringing in pros. And because John Thompson said, you got college kids playing against pros. But I remember a student newspaper who criticized the players that John Thompson got for his team, and he had a better starting five, right? And he proclaiming this writer's like acting like he knows more than this like championship winning coach. But then if you look at the players John Thompson chose for that particular team, the 88 U.S. basketball team, and then the players that this other dude chose, he chose like some college all-stars and stuff, right? Whereas, John Thompson, he had a few known names on the team. People hadn't heard of him. But when you fast forward to the future, there were several members of that team who were like NBA all-stars, whereas the college all-stars that this writer, now this is somebody who's from the outside looking in, this writer who really didn't know nuances, he knew how to report on stuff, were busting the NBA. So I'm like, okay, you think you know more than this person, and that's the same thing. I know that's a real old example, but you got some people who think they know more than somebody who's been in the game. They think they know more about women, but they don't know how to interact with women. When you get, some guys who interacted literally with thousands of women, guys who's had plenty of sex, to the point, like guys who the women will come back and say, oh yeah, I had sex with them. And I've known several guys like that. The women would tell you they had sex, and the guys were kind of quiet about it, but the women be bragging on it. Yeah, I fucked him. Like, but you get some guys with very little experience, and he speak it, and then he want to argue with you, and you're just like, dude, but what experience do you have? Have you been in the game? Do you know the nuances? Because any game, the player game, is really like any other thing out there. It really is. It's like the pimp game. It's like the pimp game. It's like being a plumber. A plumber gonna know some nuances that somebody reading some book or somebody who's never actually had to fix a pipe or twist and turn just to fix a pipe ain't gonna get. Right? It's a lot of little nuances. So you get some guys out there, they comment and they think they know and they ready to argue. But it's like, come on, man. And it's funny to me, right? Because a lot of times if you get somebody who don't know anything, then they they start having the nerve to give advice to somebody else who don't know anything. Right? And then a bunch of people wondering why stuff is wrong. I mean, like in my coaching, I spend half my time like deprogramming people. Because they heard from people who didn't know themselves. And it's funny to me. It's funny. It's funny. Because it's like, well, hold up, dude. Do you know the nuances? Do you know it? Like in the player game, right? That looks thing, and that's a big thing. Right? And it's not even talking about the body or anything. Right? And they'll say, nah, you gotta look good, that's why you do it. Or you gotta have money or something. And I'm like, well, dude, I knew like some dudes who were underground with that shit, right? Because you got some like player crews out there, man. They just on some number count. I've known at least like 2 in the DC area. One was on a college campus at a famous university there. These dudes, they just racked up numbers and stuff. There's probably one on every campus or something for all I know. But, and then I knew these guys, man, they had a cool ass nickname and everything. All they did was fuck. That's all they did. But the leader of the crew, I mean, this dude was so notorious and stuff. Other people knew him and shit. Man, I finally saw a picture of that dude. That dude looked like a gargoyle. I was like, damn, that's the dude. But he was so thorough with it. Other people were talking about him. But, a lot of people wouldn't get that. A lot of people wouldn't get that or really understand that level of the game. Right? It's like, it's a lot of little nuances to it. It's like modeling. You can't just look good and think, oh, wow, then I'm going to be a model. Your ass got to walk, and then you got to have some charisma when you out there. Like doing the modeling call, there was this older woman who was in it because the age ranged from like young girls to older women, right? And this one older woman, she came in. First of all, she had an ordinary coat on and she was wearing that shit. I had to say, damn, sis, you wearing that coat? Damn. I see you. I mean, it was just an ordinary coat, but she was just, her shit was so charismatic. It wasn't even colorful. It was like an all black coat. And she had she just had on all black. And the coat was like an ordinary coat. It looked like something you could get at like a Walmart or something. But she wore that thing so thorough. And like anybody in the fashion industry, modeling, who know about that, how you gotta have that charisma, how you have to walk, everything like that, they would get that. But see, some ordinary person wouldn't even see it. They'd be like, how they a model? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying about this. There's a lot of little nuances to it. And that's what you have to understand. And like everybody don't get those nuances because you gotta be there. It's like basketball. There's a lot of stuff that happens. A lot of people really just see them shooting the ball. They don't see that person setting a pick or setting that back pick. They don't see that person moving without the ball. They don't see that person has a drop step or not. You know. They don't see how they switching off. There's a lot of little stuff. Cutting. A lot of people don't know how much a real good person can really slash to the basket or cut means. All they see is ball goes in a hoop and you prevent the ball from going in the hoop, but they don't see the little stuff, the little nuances. I've known some boxers, they'll tell you there's a lot of technical stuff a boxer do. Like a boxer, like don't mess with a boxer. People always got talking about these mall, these little strip mall like karate dojos. I'll take a boxer any day. A boxer probably fuck them up. Anybody, even a black belt. Because there's so much that a boxer does that a lot of people may not peep. You know what I mean? My baby, send me a text. I gotta holler at her. Anyway, right? That's it for today. I'll talk to you later. Peace and blessings.